a primal emotion. An instinctual response. But for something so fundamental, fear is still a mystery.
Nee, 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 nee.
Why are some people frozen by phobia, while others seem like Superman?
Fear really doesn't exist.
My mind is saying just go, and my body's just frozen.
Can our deepest fears be overcome? And should we even try?
She is a living, breathing case study of what life would be like without fear.
Could fear, in fact, be good for us?
You survived a horde of zombies. You always have that.
Can you bear to find out?
It stinks.
There's nothing like a walk through a haunted house. There's thrills and chills and shrieks of laughter. But facing your deepest fears is no laughing matter.
Er zit hier een haan. Kom maar.
There's no better place to study fear
Supergoed.
than at its
Supergoed.
most
Doe.
extreme.
Heel even deze dicht. Kom maar met mij mee. Ik ga hem eruit halen. Je doet het echt heel erg goed.
Miriam Kannegeeter is terrified of chickens.
Hou je hem vast? Ja, is dat minder eng?
The instant she sees a chicken, her memory tells her body to go on high alert.
Kom maar. Kom maar staan waar ik sta.
What you see actually is really irrational behavior.
Ik wil niet langs het heen, hoor.
And even though they realize that there is no real threat, the moment that they are in the situation, they respond as if there is real danger and that they will die.
Zet eens één stapje naar voren.
Our brain does not differentiate between whether the fear is rational or not,
Een beetje bukken
Nee,
zo.
nee, nee, nee.
whether there's real danger or no real danger.
Miriam is here with Dr. Merrill Kint of the University of Amsterdam in a radical attempt to cure her paralyzing fear.
Supergoed gedaan.
One little pill, a known heart medication, appears to wipe away fear. 24 hours later, Kint accompanies Miriam back to the rooster.
Hoe is het? Ja, goed. Hoe voel je je? What do you feel?
Relaxed.
Relaxed.
Ja.
En jij? Zie je?
Voelt u niet dat ik bang ben?
Nee.
Voelen beesten dat niet?
Nee. Maar ben je bang een beetje?
Nou,
It is emotional. That you can do this. Yeah, you can cry. It's okay.
From crying in fear to tears of relief, her phobia is gone.
Yeah.
She spoke to the rooster as almost a new friend.
Kijk, Karel.
So yeah, that was quite convincing and also impressive.
Reports of a cure for fear have attracted a lot of attention to Dr. Kint's clinic. All the way from Whitehorse, Eva Holland wants to see what she can do about her fear of heights. She's writing a book on her experiences with fear and was initially skeptical about this therapy.
It sounds like science fiction, right? This single pill and a 2-minute exposure will cure your decades-long phobia? It doesn't even seem like convincing science fiction. But the more I read about it, it was clear that it seemed to be working for people.
Hi. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Dr. Kint's treatment is based on a new understanding of how fear memories work. It's now understood that they are not fixed in storage like a photograph, but that they get periodically resaved and are malleable.
What we do is first trigger the fear memory by exposing people to a situation or stimulus that they fear.
think I might get really freaked out.
Freaked out, yeah.
I'm grabbing on to feel safer, so I shouldn't,
better
right?
Not,
Okay.
not grabbing it, yeah. Okay, look around.
So we trigger this, what we call fear memory.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
And then what is important is that something new should happen, because this is a signal to the brain to update the memory. And if that happens, that means that the memory trace is temporarily in a destabilized state.
What's new in this case is that Eva really tries to take in the experience and not look away.
Oh God.
You feel it in your chest
Yeah.
because we're going higher and higher. But you are doing well.
Okay.
You're doing really well.
When Kint feels that Eva's fear has been fully triggered, they return.
I'm still really shaky. I'm not sure if I can move right away.
Okay. Okay, take one pill out.
Try to relax, try to think of something else.
I wanted to follow the instructions to the letter. I wasn't supposed to do anything that might trigger me to feel afraid at all. I just kind of tried to stay in a little bubble until I went to sleep.
The idea of resaving the memory happens during the night. But we disrupt this process by giving the client a pill of propranolol.
The pill has been used for years as heart medication. But when administered under exact conditions, it also blocks the work of a neurotransmitter involved in resaving memories.
The memory has been changed in a way that it doesn't trigger this very strong fear response. If it's worked, then you really see a difference.
The next day, Eva and Dr. Kint are back at the fire hall.
Feel okay looking at the bucket.
Yeah? Oh, that's good. That's good.
So far, it's a lot better than yesterday.
Yeah. If you change position, because here you feel more the wind. Can you do that?
Sure. Yeah. Oh, wow.
As soon as we lifted off the ground, it felt completely different from the day before. We went all the way to the bucket's upper limit, and it was windier, I think, than even the day before. The bucket was shaking, and I kept waiting to get scared, and I didn't.
It's like yesterday when I felt like I was going to fall over.
Yeah.
It felt like a completely different experience.
Every time when I see my clients being so scared, it's really intense. To be good in what I'm doing, I think it's necessary that I also feel it. And to see the difference, the relief, happiness, this is extremely rewarding.
Cured of her fear, Eva even goes up a second time.
Again?
Yeah.
Dr. Kint's work treating phobias is remarkably successful and offers hope for those whose phobias seem incurable.
So this is good.
In cognitive behavior therapy, there are still many people that show a relapse.
Oh mijn god. Nee.
In traditional therapy, a person learns to overcome their fear by approaching their trigger over and over again, pushing their limits each time.
What happens in the brain is that a sort of new memory trace is formed, and we also call it a sort of safe memory or an inhibitory memory, and that this new memory competes with the original fear memory. But the fear memory remains intact, and this explains that people may relapse because the fear memory is so strong and it is not so difficult to reinstate the fear response. So even though they know that they shouldn't be afraid of spiders, that they shouldn't be afraid of dogs or chickens or whatever, they cannot change that. And so there is a sort of friction in the brain between the cognitive part of the brain, our rational thinking, and the emotional part of the brain. And this is such a challenge.
Je hebt het zo goed gedaan. Ik ben zo trots op je.
What is new is the idea that we can change the emotional memory or the fear memory itself instead of only forming a new memory trace that competes with the fear memory. These new insights on fear, learning, and memory are at the forefront of science.
Goed. Nou. Oh, here he comes. Come on. Easy guy.
How's your distress?
Now I can feel it.
But abolishing all fear is not something Dr. Kint recommends.
If I think of a life without a fear, it would feel quite empty. My greatest fear is that something bad happens to my children. So I realize that even though this is not a nice feeling, of course, that this is the other side of the love and warmth that I feel for my children.
But how is it that some people panic before chickens, spiders, or heights, while others, like Kyle DeMello, seem to have no fear at all? Kyle is a motocross stunt champion from Oliver, BC.
When I was 3 years old, I got my first dirt bike. I grew up just kind of riding bikes up and down the orchard rows. My school friends started building the jumps bigger, bigger, steeper, steeper, go higher, bigger distances. It's 110% commitment on these tricks. And the consequences that can be very high.
Will we see the front flip here in this first round, guys? First attempt. Oh, come on. Oh, wow.
Undeterred by pain, fear, or a broken down bike, Kyle immediately tries this stunt again.
He's on Brent Turcotte's bike right now. This is insane. In round number 2 on a bike he's never ridden. Man, he was so close.
When tricks have gone wrong and I've crashed or I've hurt myself and then I had to get up and do it again, if it's like 10 tries, 20 tries, maybe 100 tries, the feeling when I land something new or it's never been done, your energy spikes up, your adrenaline spikes up. It's the coolest feeling in the world.
We just did it. The first front flip on a snow bike. This is sick. Wow.
Fear really doesn't exist. It exists in our mind, but that's it. And when you face it, it's gone. It actually kind of becomes addicting.
Now Kyle has come to Vanderbilt University in Nashville to work with David Zald, who wants to know how Kyle deals with fear, or if he feels it at all.
What's my story? I wanted to make music and film video and write soundtracks, but somehow that didn't work out, and I ended up moving into neuroscience as a profession.
Kyle will undergo a brain scan. Zald doesn't use scary pictures to spook Kyle. He would know they are fake. Instead, he uses gory images that activate the same brain region that is triggered by threats.
It's hard not to have an emotional response to these images, and so it really challenges the person to be able to clamp down on that emotional experience that they have. What I want you to do is try to reduce any emotional experience that you have during those pictures.
If there is something special in Kyle's brain that makes him immune to fear, Zald will see it. The next morning, the results are in.
This is the area that we're particularly interested in, the amygdala, because it is really central to the experience of fear.
Zald can see that Kyle's visual cortex at the back of the brain lights up as it takes in the threatening information. Normally, the amygdala would be fired up as well, but not Kyle's.
Your amygdala basically looked quite silent in that condition. By contrast, the visual cortex is still doing some amount of response in terms of trying to figure out what it's seeing.
Everything we looked at here, how can we relate this to like my riding and understanding the aspect of fear and how I deal with it?
There are a couple things I think are relevant for you in particular. One of them is that you do experience fear of what can happen.
I even remember like my first attempt after this first 2 crashes. I was scared, I was nervous, I was shaking.
But you show a really strong ability to downregulate that amygdala, that circuitry that's involved when people are anxious or afraid. You can control it to enough of a degree that allows you to actually go forward and do the tricks, to do the jumps.
But beyond a great ability to clamp down on fear, Kyle also appears to get an extra rush from overcoming it. Dr. Zald has studied how thrill seekers have a greater amount of dopamine, a kind of reward chemical, flowing through their brains.
What we found is that when presented with something that's highly motivating, they get a stronger response to it. For you, I think, throughout your life, there's been that pull to do it. So you're telling me a little bit, though, about preparing a new jump.
Yeah, so like when it comes down to the new...
For Dr. Zald, fearlessness is at the heart of what it means to be human.
It all kind of comes down, you gotta break
If we think about evolutionary history, humans spread out across the entire globe, and in a relatively short amount of time, it looks like. How did we do that? You had to be able to overcome fears of doing certain things that hadn't been done before. The folks who can do that may have had a real advantage.
Who knew that people like Kyle might be the vanguard of human evolution? Could it be that getting scared is actually good for us? No other creature on Earth likes to get scared quite the way humans do.
You afraid of dolls?
Why do people pay to enter haunted houses?
Are you all right?
And the scarier, the better.
Shocktoberfest is a 27-acre scream park, and we have haunts all throughout the property.
If they gave out PhDs in haunted house design, sociologist Margie Kerr would teach the course. She's here in Pennsylvania with owner Patrick Konopelski to give him some of the science behind his scares, a finely tuned mix of psychology and physiology.
This room does a good job of taking childhood dolls, toys, things that we remember and regard with a lot of nostalgia and basically defiling them. Really creates such a big dissonance, such a violation of our childhood. Things that we think are supposed to be joyful and happy, and now they're all of a sudden the exact opposite.
I remember a lot of my nightmares when I was younger, and it had to do with things in my room. We mix in real actors as well as prop zombies. So with the chaotic lighting and the very loud music, they're not 100% sure what's going on.
Our startle reflex does get saturated. After repeated startles in quick succession, we do start to tune it out. In here, you do have an assault of the senses, but it's in a confined space, just enough time to really get the system ramped up and then move on to something else so that the customer doesn't get oversaturated. Am I smelling some burnt fire smell?
Absolutely. We bring a device in to emit that odor, to immerse the customer.
Our sense of smell is such a powerful sense. It's tapped into our memories in such layered ways. It's the only sense where we're actually sensing molecules from the environment that trigger the neurons to fire. It is a sensitive sense to tap into, because if you do use too much disgust or a smell that is so overwhelming, it can quickly take a customer out of the experience. Disgust and fear are different in the brain and the body. The focus turns to just escaping that disgusting smell.
Margie has traveled around the world, visiting haunted houses, haunted forests, roller coasters, and just about anything else designed to scare.
Oh, that's great.
All to better understand the formula for fear. One thing she's learned is that it's often things that deviate just a little too much from the norm that disturb the most.
Clowns are terrifying. People always wonder, why are people afraid of clowns? But really, they have more in common with monsters than happy things, because they have painted faces. It makes their facial expressions really difficult to read. You have somebody who has a painted-on smile, but their mouth is actually frowning. You can't really get an idea of what they're feeling or what they're going to do. And it's dissonance. It's our brain saying, is this person, safe or not? So they really are the perfect monster.
I hate clowns.
She's also collected some surprising data on who likes getting spooked.
There is the stereotype that it's just young adolescent boys who are going to haunted attractions, but year after year, it's usually around 55% women and 45% men. Always a slight majority women. Men and women, we like to do scary things.
For Margie, there are clear benefits to scaring ourselves silly.
Learning about our own fear, doing scary things, can be a way to practice being afraid. And when we practice being afraid, when we have a better understanding of how we respond to different triggers, allows us to reclaim our fear so that we can ensure it's working for us and not against us.
It's closing in on me. Oh my God, it's closing in on me.
And I always encourage people to find where their threshold is and maybe push a little bit further. Try to expand a sense of resilience, because that is a nice way to feel empowered. We can kind of claim the feeling of we made it. What did you think? How was it?
It's like
That was crazy.
Right? It was like a roller coaster of emotion, because it's almost immediate. It's like I'm scared, and then it's almost like a sense of relief when I laugh.
Right. We found that people, after they have come out of the attraction and had a moment to collect themselves, a feeling of almost euphoria, because you've got all the endorphins that were released while you were scared, and now you're safe. The natural high is not just the intensity, it's the relaxation that happens afterwards too.
Margie Kerr may be a scare master, but tailoring the ultimate fear experience is not as easy as it seems. What thrills one person can chill another. A fact not lost on video game designers who are taking fear as fun to a whole new level.
When we set out to scare somebody, there's kind of two main ways we look at it. The easy scare is the jump scare. It's that leap out, catch you by surprise kind of moment that is actually almost more startling than scary. As far as I'm concerned, the more effective way is kind of the Hitchcockian way to do things, which is to lure you in and extend that moment. The anticipation of the scare, that's when we grab your heart and we start to squeeze just slowly at first, and a little tighter, to the point where you're saying, okay, just enough, get it over with.
Brad Firminger has helped design some big names in horror games, including Eternal Darkness. He also teaches the craft at George Brown College in Toronto. Brad is advising one group of students on a game they call Rebirth.
So Rebirth is a first-person horror game that places the player in the role of a bereaved mother who's lost her infant daughter and has undertaken an occult ritual in an attempt to resurrect her child. We join her in the middle of this ritual to sort of see it to its conclusion in her suburban home where things are getting very, very creepy.
Part of the ritual involves finding block letters to spell out a name and figuring out who else is at home with you.
Familiarity is what really helps enhance the scariness. That baby monitor sound. It's a familiar sound, but in this context, it's creepy as hell.
They've sent their project to Teresa Lynch of Ohio State, who uses video games to study fear.
These that we're placing on your feet are going to be capturing your skin conductance levels. And what it's doing is it's sending a very, very minimal electrical impulse. It's being sent through these sensors that's interacting with the amount of sweat that's being produced in the glands of your foot.
Along with the horror classic Amnesia: The Dark Descent, Teresa has agreed to test drive Rebirth with her student Alexis to see how its fear factors add up.
Video games provide us this very interesting context in which we can study fear responses. You have the ability to make decisions in the game with an agency that is not available in less interactive media.
Teresa's equipment plots the player's heart rate, skin conductance, and facial expression, allowing her and her assistant, Xiaodan, to break down the fear response into 3 stages, as true in video games as they are in real life.
In the pre-encounter stage, this is basically when you might be a little bit anxious if you're in an environment that is signaling to you that there may be threats lurking. Oh my God, what is that?
The second stage is the actual encounter. The body ramps up for fight or flight.
Oh no! No! It's a good spike, yeah. Up to 0.82. The distance between her IBI spikes has narrowed a little bit, so her heart rate has sped up. Now, if the threat is approaching you, then we enter into what's referred to as the circus strike stage, where you're going to have to make a decision about whether you're going to try to run away from the threat or you're going to try to fight it. I don't know what that is. Oh God. No, I didn't throw it. I didn't throw it. Just run, just run. Okay, yeah, so that took her over a 1 on the scale. So that was that was the most dramatic change that we've seen so far.
The game isn't over, but this player is done.
So we're just testing everything out on our end to make sure everything's working good.
Teresa and the Rebirth designers discuss her findings. They especially want to know about the role of the senses in their game.
In your experience, is there variance between people who are afraid of things that are visual versus things that are audio?
We think of visual stimuli as being the thing that's going to be more scary just because it can be more extreme. But when we are able to orient to visual stimuli in our environments, we know a lot about it. And so I think there's a monster, there it is, I see it, I know where it is, now I can track it, now I can respond to it. We're actually much less sharp in terms of our ability to detect and orient to sound. So sound can definitely heighten fear responses, anxiety, and preparedness without really giving the player something to latch onto.
Just a simple little blast is really all you need. It's cheap, it's efficient above all.
With so much about fear being learned from video games, people are turning to video for treatment, too.
Look at this shot here.
Since I was about 14 or 15, I could consciously remember having this fear of balconies, ledges, just heights in general. It's embarrassing for me, but today I'm here to look a bit deeper into what it is that's causing that, and if I could rid myself of that, that would be amazing.
Michael Ampa-Baden has come to the University of Quebec in Gatineau to try out therapy with virtual reality.
See that how you see that? This gives you depth. That's really cool. And because there's no ledge, you can actually fall or jump even.
Dr. Stéphane Bouchard is a pioneer in its use and has the world's most developed VR lab for this very purpose.
First of all, you'll have to put on this headset.
Together with his assistant, Alain Hadjar, they will put Michael through his virtual paces.
The emotional part of the brain, the limbic system, kicks in within 12 milliseconds, and the logical part of the brain comes afterwards. So it means that we get emotional before we get logical. So in virtual reality, if we present sufficient virtual stimuli, the part of the brain that deals with emotion believes or reacts as if it's true. And even though it's not, it's too late because the emotions are there. And what we want to do in therapy is build your strength in controlling these emotions. It's confidence we want to build. Confidence that is safe, confidence that you're not drawn by the cliff or the void, and confidence that if you feel you're drawn, you can stay in control and actually pull back at your own pace.
Yeah, keep going.
The first step is for Michael and Alain to assess the severity of Michael's condition.
We want to see to what point you can climb up the ladder comfortably. As soon as you start feeling that you don't want to keep going up, you simply stop and you come back down. Chris?
If you're unafraid, it's easy. But when gripped by fear, the imagination runs wild.
The ladder's 30, right?
Okay. I'm good. Good job, Michael. Now you can come down.
Michael stops at the 5th rung and can go no higher.
Let's see what this treatment does.
So you simply grab this, and with your thumb, you can move around the joystick. Here you go.
Back at the lab, a deep sinkhole has opened up in Michael's new reality. He must begin by moving towards it.
A big part of me wants to get to the hole, but like the closer I get, my body is on like high alert right now. It's like a frozen state.
We want to show your body that, hey, it's okay to be close to the ledge and I'm not just gonna fall down. Are you able to just bring your arms down just a bit? Slowly bring them down to your side.
Progress is slow, but sure. Eventually, Michael attempts to walk a plank over the abyss.
Are you okay?
My mind is expecting like the wind or something to come and just like knock me over, which is so weird because there's no wind.
There's the what if factor, right?
Yeah.
Your brain is always trying to convince you basically that it's dangerous. Yeah. And you're trying to convince it that, look, I'm doing it. It's not dangerous. Everything's fine.
Yeah, it's so weird.
What makes virtual reality such a powerful therapy is that patients can do what is impossible or too dangerous in real life.
One of the amazing things that we can do for a fear of heights is you could actually jump in the hole. The further you go, the less fear in the end.
I could feel the emotion or the feeling rushing through my stomach, even though I haven't jumped or anything.
On the count of 3, Michael will leap into the abyss.
1, 2, 3.
No. No, chill.
Take your time. Take your time.
Okay. My mind is saying just go, and my body's just frozen. Okay, let's go.
Whatever you want.
1, 2, ah!
Ah! Oh,
You just did it.
This is crazy.
So we're in the complete bottom of the hole.
It's crazy.
How was that?
This one was much more smoother.
Smoother?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very smooth.
A few more jumps, and Michael feels like he's gained some mastery over his fear. Now it's back to the gym. Patients usually do 8 to 10 VR sessions before they hope to see a real improvement, but Michael is keen to try again.
Come on, Mikey, you can do this. Just go, boy. Just go, boy. Okay. I'm gonna come down, yeah?
Yesterday when we did the test, he got to the 5th step. Do you know where he got up to today?
Nah.
Got up to the 9th one.
Holy shit.
So 6, 7, 8, 9.
That's crazy.
So yesterday you froze here. Today
That's
you
crazy.
froze there.
That's crazy.
That's amazing progress.
That's crazy.
Congratulations. That's great.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Thank you so much.
With just one session, Michael has nearly doubled his height. While no one is saying he's conquered his fear, he appears to be well on the way.
Congratulations.
Fear of heights is a widespread phobia. Could some deep and common fears be innate? That is exactly what David Rakison would like to know. He scares babies for a living, to see when fear takes root in the mind.
You get a startled response from babies very early on. Babies will blink and move back from a looming object.
Let you know on that too if you're good.
That's not necessarily evidence of fear. It could just be an innate mechanism to avoid objects that are about to hit you.
There are perhaps no other creatures as universally feared as these.
I think that the fact that so many people have fears of snakes and spiders, even though they're not a threat in many of the places that we live, shows the evolutionary significance of them. So that got me thinking, what would cause this privileged status for these snakes and spiders? And so I started thinking, how would I test that? Hi there.
Hello.
David Rakison. Welcome to the Infant Cognition Lab. This is Maddie.
Yes.
Okay, so today we're going to be running Maddie in an experiment that tests how babies look at things like snakes and spiders and how they learn about the features and the properties of those things.
Perfect.
Okay, you ready, Maddie?
So
Yeah,
ready.
that looks like a yes to me.
Rakison is not searching for signs of fear. He's looking to see what captures the infant's attention.
We show babies schematic versions of snakes or spiders, and then we track how long the babies look at each of these images compared to scrambled versions of the same images. And we find that at 5 months of age, babies will track a snake-like image longer than they will scrambled versions of the snake, and they will do the same thing for spiders. They'll look longer at a schematic spider than at scrambled versions of those spiders.
But could it just be a familiar pattern or shape that attracts the gaze?
So we've tried using flowers, and we see no effect for flowers, which is a biologically plausible stimulus. No effect for rodents or sharks. So it seems unlikely that it's a preference for a biologically plausible shape. It seems rather that babies have this very specific bias to look at snakes and spiders in particular, and this correlates nicely with what we know about adult fear, where snakes and spiders are in the top 5 non-human animal fears that adults have. So it looks like she looked for a long time at the snake and the schematic spider.
That's good, right? That's what we expected.
That's exactly what we expected and what we want.
But rather than proving innate fear, Rakison believes this is proof of a kind of early warning defense system.
It seems as if there is no innate fear. Babies have to learn fears. But I think that some things have a privileged status when it comes to fear learning. Things like snakes and spiders. These are the things that babies seem to learn to fear more rapidly than other things like cars or cigarettes or guns. Humans have evolved to rapidly learn this fear because individuals who didn't died. They were bitten and they died, and those genes weren't passed on.
So unless someone around the infant reacts, a child won't necessarily be afraid when they see a snake. But as boys and girls grow, fear differences do arise. and Rakison has an idea about why.
Women are 4 times as likely to be fearful of snakes and spiders. Over evolutionary time, men who were unwilling to protect their family, or to go to fight, or to get resources or hunt, would have not been selected as mates, and so the genes for being fearful in men have been selected against. But if a woman dies, her baby is more likely to die than if the father dies. So women likely have evolved to be somewhat safer, to protect themselves and thus protect their own child. And so the genes for this specialized mechanism for fear learning would be passed on and spread through the population.
Whether women are more fearful is an open question. But there are some things it seems we're all afraid of. Remember the monster under the bed? Around age 5, a child's brain grows in its ability for wild imagination, but it hasn't yet grown the ability to rein it in. Of course, as parents all know, monsters are just as afraid of us as we are of them. As we develop, our fears develop too. Death is almost always at the top of the list. And public speaking. Fear of clowns is up there, and fear of tight spaces. But what would life be like with no fear at all? Somewhere, among the millions of people in the USA, there lives a woman who knows no fear. Her identity has been a secret for over 30 years. You could walk by her on the street and never know. And yet her superpower is helping unlock the mystery of how fear works in the mind. Justin Feinstein is one of the few people in the world who knows who she is and what she's like.
I've had a chance to work with her both in laboratory settings and also in real-world settings for about 15 years. She likes animals, she has a dog. She tends to approach the world as if it's her oyster. Very affable, very social.
But her lack of fear has unexpected consequences.
We found she has no sense of personal space. When you're in a crowd and somebody comes really close to you, it creates this sense of discomfort, like they're invading your little bubble. But for her, there is no bubble. So when someone invades her personal space, the normal signals of distrust are missing. And she finds no discomfort being nose to nose with a total stranger.
She's known only as SM, and she lacks fear because she lacks a part of her brain.
She is one of the only humans walking around Earth without her amygdala. She has this condition known as Urbach Vitae disease. And for a reason that science still has not figured out, the condition will go into the brain and selectively calcify the amygdala on both sides of the brain. And this is exactly what happened to patient SM.
The amygdala analyzes information from the world outside and decides if a fear response should be triggered. No amygdala, no fear.
When she lost her amygdala because of her rare condition, she lost the brakes by which we approach the rest of the world. And as a consequence, this has gotten her into some trouble. There was a lot of people around her who were part of the drug trade. She had reported to the police that she didn't want any of these people in her community. One day, she was sitting outside of her apartment, and a stranger comes out of the blue, puts a gun to her head, and yells at the top of his lungs, "Bang!" and then runs off. About 20 minutes after this occurs, the police knock on her door because a neighbor saw this unfold. They were quite concerned. And the police said, explain what happened, who was this guy? And she was very surprised to even see the police. It didn't register on her radar that this was a serious event that had just occurred.
SM's extreme condition may allow science to finally understand how fear works in the brain. Dr. Feinstein has spent years of his life trying to scare SM. Not even the scariest of movies, like this one, caused her to flinch. And then he decided to threaten her from within.
Internal threats, these are threats that are coming through the body itself, through changes, say, in your heart rate or your respiratory pattern. And when the brain processes those changes, it interprets it as fear, or in some cases, even panic. This is going to measure your heart rate and oxygen saturation.
Just as he is doing with this woman in his lab, Feinstein decided to see what would happen if he interfered with SM's respiratory system.
Our first time we tried this was with what's known as 35% CO2.
When the body detects the intake of too much carbon dioxide, it can become alarmed.
Before, during, and after each breath, rate how much anxiety you feel using this dial.
Normally, people feel some anxiety.
Our hypothesis going into the experiment was that SM would not experience fear or panic to the CO2. SM took a single vital capacity breath of CO2. And we finally found her kryptonite. It elicited an immediate fear response. She referred to it as the most intense fear she's ever felt in her entire life. It was extremely eye-opening. I think if you could have looked at my face then, it would have been sort of the look of a deer in headlights.
And with that one breath, science learned that the amygdala is not the brain's only fear center.
This fear that your life is in danger and could end at any moment does not require the amygdala. It's somewhere else in the brain. And so you start thinking, well, how could we carve this out? How could we try to understand these two different pathways? One of the natural ways to do this is through floating. Essentially, what floating does is it creates an environment that systematically removes all of the external stimuli bombarding our nervous system. When you try to get an anxious person to relax, it's very difficult. But for whatever reason, the float environment was reflexively doing it for them. All right, so your job over the next minute is to squeeze the ball in synchrony with your heartbeat. People, when they float, will talk about feeling their heartbeat, feeling their breath, and feeling it in a way that they normally are unable to outside of the float environment.
It sounds very relaxing, but for people who suffer from anxiety and panic disorders, floating puts them in direct contact with the sensations that normally trigger attacks.
For patients with anxiety, what tends to happen is over the course of life, they develop a very intense negative association with their internal body. So for example, a classic patient, say with panic disorder, might feel their heart flutter and immediately think, I'm dying of a heart attack. So the association that patients with anxiety have to, say, their heart or to their breath is one of anxiety. And what seems to be happening in the float environment is we're able to reprogram that association. And instead of feeling anxious when they experience their heartbeat or they feel their breath, they could actually experience complete relaxation. They create a new association, if you will. What it suggests is there's a way that we could reprogram these associations. And now they don't have to be so scared of their heart beating. They don't have to be so scared of their breath. We're hitting the causes of their anxiety. It's always coming from within. And until they could learn to cope with that, they're never going to be able to go out into the real world and cope with that too. SM has really made an impact in the way we understand brain-behavior relationships. I always view myself as the student, and in many ways SM as the teacher. So this is the cortical surface. What our research is currently trying to do is figure out where is this other pathway.
Besides advancing the science, SM is inspiring Feinstein to dream a little. To dream about the evolution of human fear.
What's fascinating to me about SM is the fact that she's lived a half a century without an amygdala. And somehow she's managed to survive. And I think that tells us something important about the evolution of species. We still live in a dangerous world. Threats are always going to be there. But we're living in a society that has basically endowed us with all of our basic survival needs. When you don't have to live in a world of saber-toothed tigers and lions attacking you, maybe that's when fear is no longer a necessary emotion. But we're not there yet.